Hey guys, Winter Wolf and King Z about to bring you some of the hottest topics from Nerdom from the past week. With a modification of programming tonight, we're going to put a little bit of a focus on a big unexpected hit at the box office, Sound of Freedom. And King Z is going to give you that first segment right now. Oh, snap. Boomers getting out of bed and doing it 2 days in a row.
It's how we do. It's how we do.
Despite the weather, despite the 99% humidity, despite the rain, which is bearing down on me, tropical storms are coming through any given minute. So if the stream goes out, the stream goes out. I'll pull it up on the mobile because I know you got all kinds of movie-related things you need to get off your chest today. Dude, not one movie, but a double feature, a double Winter Wolf's Den review feature. You're going to take point on this one with the Sound of Freedom because I know you've got all kinds of things you want to throw down about that.
Yep.
And then we're going to spend, as you guys might see on the side over here, we've modified our agenda for the day. Usually we like to run 4 to 6 topics. We're only going to give you 3 today because our bonus section tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because we actually got out at the same time to see a movie for a change. We're going to take apart Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, or the Diapers of Dysentery, or the Death of Legacy. I don't remember what it was called. It was something. But dude, how you feeling? You feeling this? You ready to go?
Yep, ready to go.
My man's not too overworked today. The jitters of passing his exam have worn off. His complexion's come back to him. He's looking like he's gonna. He's like, yeah, hand fan a minute. Hand fan, I passed. I'm good.
Getting the vapors. I'm getting the vapors.
I'm feeling. Woo! All right, dude. The Sound of Freedom coming out of nowhere, and I mean like superhero entrance at like the last possible minute to save the box office day on July 4th earlier this week. I think a lot of people aren't familiar with this film. I don't think they're familiar with the company or the actor and the producer behind it. Bring us up to speed from the very beginning just so people can know. And of course, let's include a bit of that sensitivity talk that we had mentioned yesterday. And you can this is all you, bro. I'm gonna Wolf zipping his lip for a change. Do you think?
So the Sound of Freedom is a very sensitive topic. It could trigger people for various reasons because 1 out of 8 children are sexually abused before the age of 18, and that's here in the United States. That's not worldwide. So what the Sound of Freedom covers is human trafficking and the sex trafficked in the world. It is a film that I believe people need to see. Not you need to go see it to have fun. You need to go see it. No, people need to understand this topic. Now, I've talked about movies should be for escapism, should be to get out of your normal day hate. But there's some pieces of work, pieces of art that you need to see to bring attention to topics that, for the most part, is blind eyes turned on, especially here in America, because people are like, it's not going to happen to me. And the sad part is it happens here more than you think it does. It's just not covered by the media. So what Sound of Freedom covers is the real life of, I actually don't even remember his name. I've been going through all these stats and everything about this and talk about this.
That's cool.
And but it goes through his real life. He quit his job and now he combats sex trafficking mostly with the children. It has about a 2 hour and 20-minute runtime. It's definitely needed. Now, I said that there's pieces of art that's brought attention to stuff that has changed stuff here in America. Uncle Tom's Cabin's one of them. And Abraham Lincoln has said that when he read that as a child or mid-adult, it drove him to become president of the United States to end slavery. This type of topic needs to be, because we ended slavery on January 31st, 1865. Slavery became illegal in the United States. Yet there are more slaves in the United States today than there were during that time. There's more slaves in the world right now than there was during that time. On average, there was a total of, they estimated, because there wasn't exact numbers and records, about 10 million slaves that were brought to the United States, or North America, because it wasn't always the United States, but North America, from 1700 to I think they ended the trade in 1805 in North America, but then they outlawed slavery completely in 1865. So that's 10 million. Right now, there are currently 49 million slaves in the world right now. and over 21 of them are children in the sex trade. 21 million children.
Dude, that makes my fucking blood boil.
Just imagine, Winter Wolf here, he's a father. I know most of the people that watch this, you are a parent, or you know someone who's a parent, you have your parents. Imagine how they would feel if they had to go to their child's bedroom and look at an empty bed because their children is taken and out there doing stuff. This is a topic that needs to be combated completely, and you need to call people. So in this movie, even though you have JC, Jim Caviezel, who plays the main character in this, it has him as the main actor, and you see some other ones, but he is not the main focus in this story, and he's not the main character. There are two children that they focus on who's taken at the very beginning of the movie, and they were taken from Honduras, and they were told they were going to like a modeling thing to try to get them one. The little girl was a singer. I know, of course, there's spoiler alerts, by the way. One of them wanted to be a singer, and they had this former Miss Columbia, who was, and this is a true story, was helping taking these children for money. And these kids disappear and turn into pretty much such slaves. And we're not talking like they're taking 12, 15, 17-year-olds.
No. Mm-hmm.
The child was 5.
Oh.
And at this point, and you'll see the stats down here in the crawl, I put them in the crawl for people to see as well, is the sex traffic trade brings in an average of $150 billion a year.
That's disgusting, dude.
It's going to overtake the drug trade in at least 3 years. And the reason why is when you are a drug dealer and you sell a bag of cocaine, that cocaine's gone. With these slaves, and I will call them slaves, that's what they are, they could turn, and on average, it's 5 to 7 tricks a day.
Yep.
And not like for a year. We're talking, it could be decades. This goes on for a year. Turning 5 to 7 tricks with a paying customer a day for 10 years. Imagine that. Starting at the age of 5.
Yep. No. Somebody's inner Batman's about to get activated right on the stream live. They're going to shut us down because a flurry of expletives is 3 seconds away here.
Yeah. And let me keep going with this movie. This movie was actually made in 2018. They finished production and finished the edit in 2018, and then it was shelved. Mm-hmm. It was originally done by Universal Warner Brothers, and then it was sold to, that portion of them was sold to Disney, and Disney shelved it. The new studio out there was been in legal battles to get the rights to this movie, to get it off the shelves and get it out there. Yep. So it's kind of funny that the company that's supposed to be about wholesome family values is the company that shelved this. Yeah. Shocking. Because you know my conspiracy take on that. Yeah. With the certain allegations down there and, the magical world, we'll say. But anyway. Yeah. So this is a very painful, if you don't go to this movie and have a significant emotional experience, I think me and my wife cried for at least 80% of this movie just out of pure anger and just helplessness. But there's more that we could do, and that's one of the things I want to talk about. There's a lot that we can do, but here's the part that really boiled my blood. You know where the #1 destination is for these sex slaves? Got to be here. The United States. Just disposable income, the highest anywhere outside of certain parts of the Middle East, man. Yeah, and a lot of it is L.A., Seattle, Houston, even here in Augusta, Georgia, where I live, during a specific week where this city makes 90% of its money from. So I'm telling you, this is a true problem, and it could happen next door. You know how long it takes for your kid to disappear out of the front yard? Oh, dude, seconds, dude. Yeah. Seconds. You could pick up a bag of groceries from your truck and turn around, and your child's gone. Yeah. I was listening to a story the other day. A mother sent her 2 kids into the bathroom. One was 12 and the other one was like 6. And she went into the store, it's like a convenience store or something like that, and she went shopping, and all of a sudden she sees her 12-year-old, and she's asking, where's your sister? And she's like, I thought she was with you. And he's like, no, it wasn't with you. And she starts running around. She ran into the bathroom, and she yells the name, and she hears one of those muffled screams, like, and so she kicks in one of the stall doors where she sees feet, and Not only is her child in different clothes,
Yep.
but her
Haircut.
head is shaved.
Yep. Yep. Dude, that's the move. I've seen that.
2
That's been
minutes.
analyzed a bunch of times, dude. 2 minutes, all it takes. Dude, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is why both Kingsley and Werewolf are big fans of constitutional carry, situational awareness, and bringing down the wrath of God on scumbags that hurt children. I speak for the channel unilaterally on that position, dude. Anytime anybody needs a dose of pedophilin, you can let us know. There's ways to make that happen. But anyway, without getting into hyperbole, to keep it on topic and focused, continue, my friend, please.
So, I am encouraging people. I am pleading to people to go see this movie, and I don't want finances to get in the way. Because movies are expensive. You're looking at anywhere from $10 to $12 to $15 to go see a movie. $30 if you're going with a date. So what the studio that now owns it, Angel Studios, have come up with a pay it forward campaign, because they don't want finances to get in the way of this topic either. So I just put up a website here on the thing. It's angel.com/pay-it-forward/sound-of/freedom. There, you did pay it forward for someone else to go see it. They're trying to raise money for 2 million tickets. 1.3 million have been bought. But if you want to see it, you can also go there, and it will tell you how to claim some of these free tickets. Get a voucher for Fandango to go see this movie, because it's not about them making money. It's about them getting the message out.
Dude, I don't want to put you on the spot. Is it Angel Company? Or
No,
is it angel.com?
Angel.com.
Because you spelled angle.
Oh.
You need an ANGEL.
It's Angel, not Angle.
Okay,
Sorry.
I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, the guys, it's Angel, ANGEL.com. Pay it forward, as King Z has it up there. On the everything else is I didn't run my usual spell check.
The rest is spelled. The rest is spelled.
Just checking. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure, because I think it's a great cause, and it's the production company putting their money where their mouth is in terms of their it's not negative agenda, but they have an agenda, and that's to raise awareness, to a cause that they're taking dead ass serious. It's disgusting. It's disgusting, the numbers you just brought up. It's disgusting that the United States is a prime destination for that. And like I said, the only cure for this is up against the wall. That's it. I've had enough of that. Like you said, you don't have to be a father yourself to know that the only proper response to this is that. If it doesn't boil your blood, you're part of the fucking problem. I'll say that categorically. But I do enjoy that tasty bit of irony, like you said, that we were talking about this yesterday, that the original rights holders to the movie shelved it, and then it gets bought back by the original production, and then it gets put out, and then on Independence Day, like we were talking about before the show goes live, the movie opens to whatever it did and outsells Indiana Jones 5 on half the screens that Indiana Jones was on. The irony there is delicious.
11 million. It made 11 million in that on 4th of July.
Right. On 2,500 screens, whatever, instead of the typical 4,500 that like the AAA movies get released on.
Yep.
So I think this movie's gonna. I think the legs are gonna grow on this. Like I said, I've talked to a couple, IRL friends that I hadn't touched base with in a while. Lunches and dinners this past week, and people that know you and I kind of travel in online circles doing movie reviews, things like that. They're talking about this movie. And these are people that don't get out to movies 2-3 times a month like we do. These are people that might go twice a year.
Now, about the movie, like the movie is not over dramatized. You're not going to go in there and you're not going to get a Taken movie. You're going to see what I believe would actually happen in this type of situation. They're not going in there kitted up, guns blazing. You're seeing true law enforcement. You see them not taking individual justice, that they are relying on the justice systems of the areas that they're at. You see former criminals who are sickened by this helping out. One of the characters in this, and it's true, he was a cartel money trafficker. He's the one who cleaned a lot of money for the drug cartels. But now he frees children. And he had a great line in this. Because he went to prison, he kept his mouth shut, and then he came out. And then he said he was trying to fill that void he was having with the excitement he had. And he tried to get back into it. And a lot of stuff happened. I'm not going to go into full details, but there was a point where he had a gun to his head, and he was praying to God, what should he do? And the vision came clear when he looked out, because he found out that one of the girls he picked up on the street was 12 years old. and he didn't know that. She thought she was 18, 21, found out what it was, and he says, when God tells you what to do, you don't hesitate. And that's how I feel about, like, I was told that I need to put this out. I have a platform here. Winter Wolf is gracious enough to let me have a voice on his channel to spread this out. And yeah, and one of the big lines that they've talked about in this is, and it's down there in the stats that I put on here, which should be on the right after this crawl right here, that's just through, is God's children are not for sale, and we got to stop this. So another way to stop it is there are visual signs everywhere. Pop-up massage parlors. If you see a massage parlor pop up in what should be a neighborhood, or you have the ones where all the windows are blacked out, and like you see it, like the people come with vans. There's a lot of telltale signs of this type of stuff happening. If you see something, say something. And if you can see, I'm putting up a phone number. This is the Department of Homeland Security's anti-human trafficking phone number. If you see something and you have a tip, call this phone number. Bring in law enforcement. I'm not asking anyone to be a vigilante. I'm not asking anyone to take up arms and start your own militia to fight this. Let the professionals do it.
Dude, I don't know if did you go full screen with that number, because I didn't get it on my side. But if you didn't put it full screen, put it full screen. Like, if it won't jack up what we're doing here, I just want to make sure it's big enough and ready for folks to be able to get it down.
All right, let me fix that.
Oh, there. Okay, my blind ass just didn't see it. So guys, that's 1-866-347-2423. King Z says that's the direct line to the appropriate division of Homeland Security for any trafficking relating tips, questions, or if you see something that doesn't belong where you are, you let them know. And as an aside, as we were talking earlier too, you let the experts handle the criminal justice aspect of what's going on, but also to folks and ladies in particular, but literally everybody. Dude, you have to maintain your situational awareness everywhere you go. I'm not talking about walking on eggshells or thinking that danger constantly lurks around every corner, but be realistic. Mind your surroundings. Have your keys out when you're in the parking lot to get to the car. Move with a purpose. Don't dawdle. Don't sit in the car and send 57 text messages in a poorly lit parking lot at night in the middle of nowhere. You know, if you have to go through, if you live in a bad area, you know, keep an eye open. They're coming for people that are unexpected. They're coming for weak people that can be preyed on like children. You know, be reasonable with your security concerns. If you have small children, you don't send them into the bathroom at Target alone for about a billion reasons. This is one of them. You know, go in there. Dads, if you have to take your daughter into the men's room to pee, you just do it. You don't send a 5-year-old into the ladies' room alone. Because newsflash, like King Z was saying, it's not just dudes in their 40s that look a particular way that are stealing your kids. It could be a former pageant winner from Miss Columbia. You know, a soft face, a pretty face that's going to lure your kid in and make them not afraid and do awful things.
That bathroom,
always keep eyes open.
That bathroom story I was telling you about, that was a lady that was doing
it. That's why I brought it up here, because it's not just, we all have the vision in our head of what the FBI wanted poster looks like for somebody trafficking. You know, it looks like Dale Gribble from King of the Hill. It looks like that guy, but it doesn't. It can look like anybody.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It really
we got to take that serious.
And it could be your neighbor. It could be the person down the street, or it could be the person in the next town. They are out there. There are people who are sharing this. You know, child pornography has grown over 5,000% in the last 5 years of clips online.
Yep.
So
it's disgusting.
I was heated. I had a lot of hard things I wanted to say, but the one hard thing that I'm going to keep is, if you're one of the people who partake in this and you're watching this stream, do the world a favor. End yourself.
Yep. And that is, again, a unilateral statement brought to you by the good folks at Winter Wolf's Den, because really there's no cure for you. Well, there's a cure for you. I mentioned it. It's a 100 milligram dose of penicillin. It's also available in certain other calibers of medication. We'll leave it at that. Kingsley, you know, one of the things I appreciate you pointing out about the film is I don't want people to go into this thinking that it is a sensationalized, taken, extraction, old school Bruce Willis, Sylvester Stallone like rescue movie. It's not that. It's not a documentary. It's very much a piece of fiction based on real life, right? But it has the flow of a movie, and it's not just cut scenes and collages and interview footage, things like that. It is a movie.
It is a movie,
but it's not taken. Right.
Yep.
I think that's important
And
to point
it's
out.
not a perfect movie either. There are little pacing issues and stuff
I'm
like
sure.
that. But the
I'm sure.
dialogue is great. It's on point. The acting is spot on.
I heard Caviezel's
But-
pretty good. I heard he's pretty solid.
Yeah.
You know, as a guy that we haven't seen much, since Passion of the Christ, Count of Monte Cristo, Angel Eyes with J Lo in like '98 or whenever that was. It's been a while.
And then Person of Interest on TV.
Person of Interest, yep. He's good on that. Frequency, but that was really like a Dennis Quaid's movie, to be honest.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. And you got anything else on Sound of Freedom? And you can feel free to. You can bring that 800 number back up and just leave it on the screen if you want, and then just kind of tell it because it doesn't have a title. Just let people know what it is throughout the show, various points.
I would have to do a lot of work to get that to go on the. I just had it set up for topic 1 scene. Set,
Oh yeah,
so.
just between segments or something. Put the phone number for Homeland Security back up. If you leave the website, just every now and again, we'll just have to point out loud the typo. That way, people are actually going to the right place and not thinking your boys at Winterwolf's Den are trying to scam you out of money. This is not anything we own or have any financial interest vested in at all. This is just something that came across King Z's personal radar, and he's just putting the word out there. And of course, we're going to allow him to spread that word to the platform, such as it is, because it is important, and there's some bullshit that needs to be torched. Enough is enough of that nonsense.
Yep.
So I think we appreciate anybody that stuck around through that tough segment. It's not an easy topic to discuss. We know folks out there that listen, friends and family, other folks that we're meeting online as we get the channel up and running. You probably know somebody that has a certain kind of abuse story. You may not know anybody that's been kidnapped, but the abuse is a thing. The pornography issue is a thing, and you very well might know somebody that's been caught up in that and is dealing with the grief of that and the trauma of that. So we know that's not easy, but we appreciate it. And I think, we'll take a couple of deep breaths here. Kingsley just had a long slug of his ice water. We're going to get into some more lighthearted topics now, because that is what we do here. We do like to entertain, but this damn well needed to be a point of information to the folks that are out there, and that's why we're going to leave. Matter of fact, in the put in the stream description when we move it, when we're done, put all the information for the website and the Homeland Security number.
Yes,
if you didn't already do that.
Definitely, yeah. And this was, like I said, I had a significant emotional experience during this movie, and I got to the car, and the first thing I did was text the Winterwolf here and say I need the first segment, because we already had the segment set up, and we worked the whole show. I'm like, I want the first segment.
He literally called the shot. I was minding my own business. I think it was in the middle of a Warzone match or something. But King Z's got a special beep on the Facebook Messenger when that popped. I was like, God damn it! And then of course, I had a top 3 and it blew it, and it 7th, but whatever. King Z doesn't ask for much. And when he says he needs a segment, I know it's just not to talk about like bad Pistons draft picks or anything like that. It's some serious shit.
That's a different show for a different day, but
they've made lots of bad draft picks. That's neither here nor there. Different show, different day, different channel.
Yep.
We should probably talk about that. But that's whatever. We'll get there. We'll get there. All right. Stepping on the clutch, shifting gears, good times ahead. Dude, Squid Games. I know you told me yesterday, because we finally caught up about like the actual topics we were going to do, that you didn't see all of season 1. But Mrs. King Z had seen season 1. I think you said she gave it a thumbs up. It was a decent enough show. Like, she enjoyed it.
She liked season 1. The parts I saw were kind of good. I just didn't get that much into it.
Yeah, it happens. What did you think of as a writer, the screenwriter? What did you think of the concept? Was it fresh enough for you, or was it basically just Hunger Games for grown-ups and you didn't care? This shit took the world by storm. This was like Tiger King before Tiger King.
Well, one, it was it's a completely Korean, like it's dubbed over for U.S. audiences. Yep. I think it was kind of original. I thought it was a really original idea of of course Hunger Games is out there first, and but they're not seeking on like a post-apocalyptic trying to make people pay like they did in Hunger Games. This is seeking poor people pretty much
voluntarily too.
Yeah.
That was which was I think the hook.
Yeah. Like it was the one guy playing the red thing, blue thing, and like if he won, he got money. If he lost, he got slapped, and he was like slapped 100 times.
Like pretty funny.
Yeah, but then he gets that call about doing this, and then you see the red light, green light.
Yeah, I think that's when I was drawn into the show. I had an idea what the show was about. I basically just thought it was Hunger Games for grown-ups. So I'm like, all right. But then, like you said, you get in and you realize, no, it's a collection of people that are broke and all walks of life. There was stockbrokers in there. There was a doctor in there. The main character was kind of your average lovable loser type, custody issues, with his daughter, living with his mom. Ex-wife moved on to be with somebody 1,000 times more successful and stable. It was like almost a very kind of tropey, but it was enjoyable. He was likable. I did like him in the role. But the reason I put it on the list is because I feel like Squid Games has kind of been out of the zeitgeist for a while. Mm-hmm. It had its run. It was very highly rated on Netflix. People signed up. They ate it up, binge watched it. There was rumors for a while about an American version, but not dubbed. I mean, like literal, like an English American version being done by Netflix. I think that's still coming through. I don't think that's canceled or shelved or anything. But the reason I put it on there, as you guys can see from our little title on the agenda there, is season 2. Now, I knew they had a season 2 coming, but it was a while ago that I caught the news. But they're adding to the cast, and it's starting to catch a little bit more traction in the kind of circles and the Facebook pages that we follow. Even as somebody that hasn't seen the whole run of the show, do you think did this show need a season 2, or was season 1 really lightning in a bottle? And I'm kind of up in the air. That's why I wanted to ask you about it tonight.
Well, I didn't see how it ended. I did hear some things that my wife told me a little bit about how it ended and stuff like that. Yeah. So you could do a season 2.
Yeah, it organically makes sense in world for sure.
Yeah, so I wouldn't have a problem with it. I just like them to not rehash what already was hit. Like anytime you have a sequel, it's hard to recapture that lightning in a bottle. But I mean, sometimes sequels pay out even bigger. I mean, Empire, Godfather 2, Jaws 3. Just Jaws 2 was garbage.
But, point of contention. Jaws 2 was way better than Jaws 3. And you're talking to a guy that literally watched Jaws 3 today. Literally had Jaws 3D on today down at SeaWorld. But anyway, sequel talk. Very tough to do.
Yeah, very tough to do.
Probably tougher with the show even, I would imagine.
With a season, or if you go keep the story going and you don't try to rehash things that happened in the first season, you could possibly have a great second season. I mean, there's a lot of shows that second season paid off for them. The West Wing won more awards the second season than it did the first season. So
Star Trek TNG.
Yeah,
you're right. There's X-Files got better, obviously, as that went for longer. Supernatural.
Yeah,
24.
I mean, there are shows that can get stronger with each season, and then we've seen the exact opposite with a lot of shows where it gets weaker and weaker each season, and then you get to the Monster of the Week, and then
the time travel, seeing it from the villain's perspective, the musical episode.
I love the musical episodes. I don't care what it is. I love the musical episodes.
Scrubs or Buffy or something, but do we really do we need a musical episode of any CSI or NCIS? I mean, is that even a thing? I'm sure they've done it. There's 50 of these fucking shows. I'm sure they did at least once. But do you care if I spoil Squid Game season 1? I just want to talk about it a little bit more.
Dude, it's been out for 3 years now?
Yeah, dude, I know. But if you hadn't had it spoiled and you were riding the luck, I don't know. The guy you were talking about, who you see gets slapped up a lot. He's obviously your main character. He wins. Obviously. Well, I mean, not obviously if you didn't know. He wins. He successfully defeats the gentleman at the beginning of the show that was his childhood friend, ironically, that ended up in there too because he had lost a fuck ton of money on the stock market or something. So he ends up winning out. He beats him in the last game is literally the Squid game that they talk about from the playground, and he beats him at it, right? So he wins. He gets a fuck ton of money. He confronts who turns out, I don't know if you got this far, he confronts the old man who he thought he had gotten killed in one of the games as the mastermind of the whole thing.
Yep, I knew the old man was the mastermind behind the whole thing.
Yeah, so he was basically just some rich dude who was lonely and dying or whatever and wanted to have the fun from his childhood again because he missed it and he knew he was dying. So we orchestrated the whole stupid thing. So the dude that wins, they have this weird montage in the last episode where he's got his money. He's at home bumming around for a little while. He's getting interviewed by police and this and that and all kinds of whatever else. And then he finally gets himself, he takes a shower, he goes to a hair salon, dyes his hair pink or something, buys a really expensive suit. And the last scene we see of him,
Korean.
You know what I'm saying? It's K-drama, maybe not technically, but still. He's on a cell phone calling his daughter, expensive suit, getting on a plane, like he's hey baby, I'll be right there. I wouldn't miss your birthday. And you're like, oh shit, he won out and he turned his life around. But then as I remember it, I think he gets another fucking call, and it's from somebody else that was related to the Squid Game production. Not the old man's dead. Everybody else in the games is dead. I think it was somebody that had initially put him up to it, right? Maybe the guy that slapped him a lot. Okay. And this dude fucking throws like the flowers for his daughter away and doesn't board the plane, and all of a sudden decides he's gonna go back. Like it's like he wants to do like the revenge kick thing. And I'm like, so see, we can ostensibly believe that season 2 is going to be about him going back to the island, which is undiscovered and still has all the apparatus to run the game, despite the benefactor being dead and lots of people on the island being dead. I don't know, man. It seems like such a stupid set. And maybe he's not going back, and maybe he's not the focus of season 2. I don't know. Like the plot hasn't been revealed, but I don't know if this is the kind of show like something new, like Stranger Things, that has this building, expanding cast, world building aspect to it that needs to be shown to an audience. I don't know if the hype is going to be there again for this.
It will definitely be at the beginning. It might die out as they watch more episodes. It will probably be big in Korea, of course.
Right.
But
right,
I don't.
It's Netflix Korean original, right?
Yeah, it might not play well with the American audience again, but it might. You never really know. So I mean, why not take a shot at it? Don't leave don't throw away your shot, right?
Right. You shoot or shoot, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I get that. I guess that's the way to go with it. I mean, for me, like I would check into it, and I'm pretty sure I could probably talk you into watching the rest of season 1. And then jumping into watching it for like a season 2, like a series breakdown, like we do, because there is some cool shit to pick apart in the show.
If I still had Netflix,
I do. Netflix, I totally would not give Kingsley access to the, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to point that out because I'm not sure that I can always back these kind of shows when it's been how many years in between seasons. It's not like they just jumped right into production of this. But it is worth pointing out the show made a fuck ton of money and actually did drive subscribers to Netflix. I believe it's to this date. I mean, Wednesday may have dethroned it in terms of revenue generated, but for a while, this was the thing. Like, this made more money for them than Stranger Things, than Tiger King, than Cobra Kai. Wednesday might have taken the crown, but this for a while was right up there.
Wasn't it during COVID that this came out? Like during the shutdown, or was it like still?
No, it was before that.
It was before that.
Sure. I'm pretty sure because I was talking to folks that I don't think worked at the hospital during the vid.
Okay.
About finally getting into it. I could be wrong. I honestly don't remember, but I don't think so.
Because I know Tiger King was definitely during the lockdown part of COVID.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. This came before that, and it's the reigning. It was the reigning like revenue generator title until Wednesday, I believe.
Okay.
I do believe. All right. Do you want to bump us down to our last quick topic before we run out of complete time? Because I know we want to cover Indy. I'll keep this one brief because this is more like a victory lap. I didn't send the headline for the article, I don't think, but we'll just talk people through it. It's not a big deal. So, you guys are familiar with The Witcher 3. You know, Henry Cavill, King of the Nerds, as Geralt, the Witcher of Rivia there, whatever it's called. Not really a favorite game of mine. I know it's an amazing game, I just haven't put my time into it. Whatever. Geralt, whatever. Hard G, soft G, big G, whatever. So, Henry Cavill is everybody's favorite guy in nerddom. We all love the guy in Superman. We love the guy on this show. He's going to do good things for Warhammer when that comes through. We love him in Mission Impossible. The dude's the dude. People like him, right?
Yep.
So, as I said, he's king of the nerds, and it's not just because we like him and we all want to be, jacked up and ripped like he is. It's because he actually loves nerddom shit. Yeah. Like the guy builds his own gaming rigs. You know what I mean? Like he's in the club.
Yeah, so, and he knows the material that they're doing in this.
Please. Yep.
Like he
forward and back.
Like, so he campaigned for this role because he loved the game. I know people who have played with him in World of Warcraft. He almost missed his audition to be Superman because he had a raid in World of Warcraft.
Heard the story.
The guy is literally the king of the nerds. Everyone's like, oh, it's Joss Whedon or it's J.J. Abrams. No, it's Henry Cavill. Because one, not only could he break each of their legs, but he did also beat them in a probably one-on-one game of Call of Duty, because the guy is just that cool. And like, he's got a whole series started just because he mentioned it on an interview about how he wanted to do Warhammer, which he's working on now.
Working on with Amazon. Yep. With I might add, allegedly total creative control.
Yes.
Throwing that out there. And I wonder why he had that worked into whatever arrangement.
And
that brings us to our topic today.
Which comes to The Witcher. Because in season 3, they wanted him to get sexually physical with Yennefer.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how you say her name.
It's worse than that. I mean, we're talking about a guy who, as an expert on the subject matter, he's not just a fan of the game. Like, he's a fan of the book series. He can quote very, like how we would do Lord of the Rings or Star Wars. Like, dude does this for The Witcher. And so we get season 1, and I think most people enjoyed season 1 because we did the whole, toss a coin to your Witcher thing, and that made all the rounds on iTunes and Spotify, and it was riding high. But then we got the typical bullshitifious bait and switch thing that was popularized right around 2020-ish, 2021-ish, where season 2 comes through, and there's a marked shift in who the show focused around, and it moved away from his character and towards Yennefer and Ciri, and that only got worse over the end of the season, to the point where they had a fairly significant viewership drop off for season 2.
I can understand Ciri, because Ciri is a huge part of the series, of the book series and the video game. Yennefer,
but it's not her show. But it's not her show.
Yeah, she's not a Witcher. She's training to be a Witcher, though.
Right.
But Yennefer's always been a secondary character, love interest of
Geralt, whatever.
Yeah,
I read it. I don't.
But they never get physical in the book nor the game either. Right. That's more of a emotional, like, mental type love that these two share, and that's what Henry Cavill was going for with this. And they're like, no, we got to do this. He's like, no, this would not happen, and he stood firm on it.
Yep. So they get him through 2 seasons. He's up for season 3. The man's plan for the show was a 7-year pitch, from what I understand. And then before season 3 goes into production, he basically says, "Fucking, I'm out." Right? Yep. I'm working through my contract, to be clear. Working through my contract through season 3, and then I'm gone. Right? Mm-hmm. So they go ahead and hire Discount Hemsworth. And I shouldn't say Discount Hemsworth. That's not fair to Liam Hemsworth. Guy's probably a lovely individual. Who knows? Right? But they, honest to God, think they're going to bring this guy in to fill Cavill's shoes. Now, to be clear, maybe he's a better actor. I don't know. But I know about 68 trillion women that aren't watching this show because Liam Hemsworth is going to be there for season 4 when it comes through. You know what I'm saying? Like, they've had such a significant drop-off for season 3 that after initially putting out hit pieces on Henry Cavill, when this all came up that he was leaving, that he's difficult to work with, that there were very shady, bordering on Me Too allegations about misogyny and things like that, and literally nobody on the planet bought any of it. To humanity's credit, I don't think anybody bought it, because we'd seen him present himself as genuinely as anybody else, and nobody had any of these complaints from other projects. We've heard it said that people can be divas in contract negotiation, and fine, if that's how you earn your money. Like, you get what you bargain for. You don't get you don't make more money by not taking a stand for that. But I think it's hilarious now that we're seeing, as season 3 of The Witcher is now available to stream and watch, and it's completely taking that nosedive in viewership. The story's off the rails from source material, despite them talking about it's actually kind of close, and it's going to be even closer for season 4 when that comes out. Like, people are tuning the fuck out of the show, but now we see the reverse of the hit pieces. Now people are out there, like Lauren Hisrich, the showrunner, talking about, Henry was a blast to work with, and we really appreciate his attention to detail and his knowledge of source. And dude, I'm like, if I could paintball this chick from across the planet, I would. Because who's buying this bullshit that, like, you can speak out the one side of your neck when the star's leaving the show and has nothing bad to say? Because he's a professional. He didn't badmouth anybody. But you fucking clowns are out there talking about, he was really difficult in the writer's room and didn't want to take anybody. He's like, maybe they were stupid ideas. Maybe they were just fucking dumb and violated source. Why did you hire the king of fucking nerds and not think that was going to be a problem?
Yeah, someone who actually knows the source material inside and out. And like
Look at me.
even the other actors and actresses on this were like Henry Cavill is a great person to work with. He sits there and he works with you. And this, like you said about his character, like when he said he was leaving, he never gave a reason. He never
Right.
badmouthed anybody. He never
Dude, he
said
worked out a
what
contract, right?
he said.
Right.
He never said anything about what actually happened behind the scenes. He just like,
Yep.
no, I'm leaving. I'm going to pursue other projects.
Yep.
It's my time to go, type thing.
But see, and that's the part that slays me, are the reverse, like the unhit pieces now, coming from the same shitty article generated, and they're probably all, what's it called,
Clickbait.
chat GPT or whatever. No, I mean
Oh.
like your AI thing. They're probably
Yeah.
all generated by this shit now because these people can't write articles to save their lives anyway. But I mean, I got the list on the wall here that I troll for, the topics to keep us in the loop. We got things like the Mary Sue, Cinema Blend, Screen Rant, Comic Book Resources. I think some of the original ones came out of Variety and The Hollywood Reporter. But these are the clowns that are in bed with streaming and with the mainstream media, with the production companies like Disney and like Warner Brothers, that when a message needs to be put out there, they go to these rags that put out whatever they want, regardless of if there's any truth to them at all. And like I said, I think to humanity's credit, nobody believed it about Cavill, and I'm just glad for that, because I think this dude's been hosed not once but twice, and probably 3 times if he isn't fucking James Bond, and it doesn't sound like he is, that he's going to get that role either.
Oh, that's not what I heard.
Oh,
There's
Oh.
an article out
was
there.
was there a course correction on that? Because for a while he was out of that chat.
He did an audition and they said that he was out freaking standing.
Oh,
Was the actual
Then please, Cavill Bond is a thing the world needs.
there's
now.
only
Sorry.
2 people I believe that could replace Daniel Craig as Bond, and this is going to take off the rabbit hole. But there's 2 people. Henry Cavill's
Yeah,
one, and
Yep.
Aldous Elba is the other.
Yep. And I think people would have been okay with that. I honest to God, again, show me the racist receipts if you got them, boys and girls, because I don't buy that any non-piece of shit garbage human being would have said no to that. Because the guy's a Brit, is he not? Like, is there
Yeah.
anything specific that says that he couldn't play that role? Because he's bringing an A+ performance anyway, and I think that's all people cared about.
Yep.
So I think you might be right on that. All right, dude. I think that covers our Witcher talk, and we're gonna do about what do we get, about 15, 20 minutes to go. Let's do some indie talk. Get it moving.
There it is, the bonus. The man's in the
Bonus?
corner.
Oh, that used to be the man. I'm not really sure what's going on now, but
He is 70.
dude, he's like, I think he's like 90, and that's part of the problem. Because anyway, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Dysentery. Beep. Indiana Jones and the diapers of diarrhea. Beep. The memes wrote themselves for like 40 hours.
It all depends, man. It all depends.
And it depends on what size you might need. And I needed an extra large size for the load that this movie was, in Winter Wolf's opinion. Now, you and I talked a couple days ago, just very generally about this movie, and you said, I believe you said you liked it, but
Yes.
you weren't exactly tripping over yourself to sing any of its praises.
No, I thought it was a decent movie for an 80-year-old to play an action hero, and I think he portrayed a aging action hero to it. I believe that there was a little bit, like the spoiler came out to be true, that came from Reddit, but it wasn't as bad as they portrayed it in the article they wrote. Like you were talking before, and we've talked about, like you said that you heard that he was led by the nose, like he didn't do anything. I think he did his fair amount what an older gentleman would do in that type of situation. Like he was still shooting people. He took a bullet. He did. He
From
had
a friend.
He figured
Oh
out.
no, ain't a bad guy. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. At the beginning,
Sorry, I was thinking. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, who else shot him? Yeah. Anyway, go ahead, dude. Sorry.
he's been shot 10 times. He brings that up.
That's funny. That had a moment there for sure.
It does have callbacks to the original Indy, because he talks about being forced to drink the blood of the Temple of Doom stuff and being tortured by voodoo. But I mean, out of all of the Indiana Jones, like you can look at them and like, of course, my greatest one is Last Crusade is number 1,
Yep,
and
fact.
then I put Raiders. Then I would put Temple of Doom.
Yep.
And then I would put this one, and then Crystal Skull.
Okay, wait. You're gonna put Crystal Skull beneath this? Nah, dude, I'm not a Crystal Skull fan. You're taking alien. You're taking time travel over aliens. That's what we're doing here today.
I think the acting in this was a lot better than what Shia LaBeouf pulled off in that one.
Okay.
Even though I do consider Shia LaBeouf a good actor, especially during The Greatest Game Ever Played, the golf movie. But he just kind of cashed it in like it was a check. You could even tell that Harrison Ford probably didn't want to be on that set because he was not enjoying himself. Because he had to bring up that his dad died, that
Yep.
Brody died. This one was a little bit better. Like, it had a lot of the callbacks. It had the his friend from Egypt, like
Salah.
Salah. He was living in the United States. Like, he got him out of Egypt and got him in the United States.
Yep.
But he portrayed a broken man. I mean, someone who we talked about this about losing a son like earlier in the first segment. Now that was to a lot realer thing, but in the 60s, that was a real thing to lose your son to Vietnam.
Oh, Vietnam War situation. Sure.
Do you know what the lifespan of a second lieutenant Marine in Vietnam was?
38 seconds.
38 seconds. Very good. I'm impressed.
Number just popped into my head. It's also my favorite everyday carry caliber, but that's neither here nor there either. Dude, I can appreciate you liking this movie. I'm not going to go on we're going to do more of a back and forth. I'm not going to do a long-winded rant on this one. This is the first time in recent movie-going history for me that I was angry while I was there. Like, the most recently before that, I think, would have been Thor: Love and Blunder. So it's been about a year, and before that, it'd been, I couldn't even remember. Dude, I took my phone out of the pocket and put it on the armchair or the recliner for this one because I had to watch time pass on the clock because I felt like this movie just wouldn't stop. And I'm sure you have to at least be slightly critical of length and pacing here. 2 hours and 34 minutes.
It didn't need
get
to be
your
that
bang
long.
for your buck? Okay.
Now,
Point conceded. Okay.
so there's an app called P-Break, right?
P-Break. Yeah,
and it tells you
yeah.
when in a movie you'd go use the bathroom. And like,
see, for me, this movie would just be the line on the graph would be all the way up because literally you could vanish for any point of this movie and not know what was going on when you came back.
Yeah, it was pretty basic story.
By the numbers. It was by the numbers. Now, not that Indiana Jones is known for these cerebral mindfuck Inception level plots or anything like that. They're supposed to be fun, thrillery. It's a Temple of Doom thrillery, obviously.
Yeah.
The most out of all of them, I think. But adventure films with upbeat music. You're punching Nazis. You're jumping from one horse to a tank. You know what I mean? You're outrunning the giant boulder in some abandoned crypt/tomb temple thing from a billion years ago,
which you kind of got in the beginning.
Yeah, oh, definitely. See that, and again, I'll say this: the first part of most Indiana Jones movies is the best part because you get the movie within the movie. You get the objective. He's on a treasure hunt or something. He typically loses it, but he punches out a bad guy, and then he lives to fight another day. In this, I get that they were trying to replicate all that, but it was 25 fucking minutes long. 25 minutes.
It was
by
a
the
long
time
setup.
long. By the time they jump off the train and crawl out the water, it's 25 minutes, right? But let me tell you, we were talking about old man doing the role. I knew I wasn't going to like this movie within the first line of dialogue, right? Because when we're in that past, that 25-minute setup is however many years ago, where it's supposed to be India in his prime in World War II, actually fighting Nazis.
It's like 1946. It's like the end of the Nazi regime.
It's the end. The Nazis are packing up their war treasure, their stolen artifacts, things like that, and he's there with a British dude trying to get back the Spear of Destiny, which I argue would have been a better topic for the movie. That should have been the keep it religious, not scientific. No aliens, no time travel. Keep it up. But anyway, so we've got digitally de-aged Indy, and I thought for the most part that looked pretty good. Yeah. I thought that's probably the best we've seen so far from Lucasfilms.
Yeah, one of the better.
Tarkin. Right. A little bit more lifelike than even the Luke Skywalker thing in The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. But the first time he opened his mouth to speak, and it's present day, not movie present day, like 2023 Harrison Ford's voice, it just didn't match. I had cognitive dissonance the remaining 2.5 hours where I'm like, I know you've de-aged him to look like he's 60, right? Which is still too old for this character at this point for me. Like, he needs to be chronologically locked in like his mid 40s or 50s so he could do the action. But it didn't sound right.
He could have been because he should have been, because he was 37 in Raiders of the Lost Ark, which was take
Okay.
place in 1939.
Okay, so we were talking about less than 10 years later,
Yeah.
he would have aged to real life to somebody that's only a few years older than we are,
Yeah.
right? I don't know. Maybe did you pick up on that sound cue at all? That like the voice just didn't fit? 'Cause, dude, that bugged me terminally. Not at all, huh? I'm surprised.
No, I didn't.
Wow. All right, yeah. I mean,
That didn't even
Alright.
cue on me because he's had a rough, growly voice for a while.
oh, definitely. That's not how the Force works. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
true. But I just thought for me it was because maybe it's because I know what he looks like IRL. That when they lay any de-aging on him and they give him, and it wasn't just one line of dialogue that could slip by. For me, it's like, I mean, like I said, the segment was like almost a half hour long.
Yeah.
The dude had dialogue nonstop with the Nazis that he was breaking into the base with, or with his partner when they're trying to get out.
Yeah.
And it just kind of, I was off to a rough start right away. The pacing, like I said, it felt like it was, now actually, and not that I want to bury the lead, as they say. I'll give it up here. I do have a solo review video coming through where I'll go big in depth on the points, since we're going to be pressed for time here with King Z shared stage with me. But I'll hit some of my highlights. One of the things I thought was missing from this movie was the joy that is typically experienced by the main characters that do the archaeology in the movie. There's always that scene or those scenes in the three prime indies, because I still don't count Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. If you told me it didn't exist, like it had been memory bleeped, Men in Black style, I'd be like, okay, like whatever, take it. Eternal Sunshine, shit that right out of my mind. There's always that scene in Indy where he's explaining the archaeology to somebody, whether it's the Ark of the Covenant, you need the staff of Ra, and he draws the thing on the blackboard, or he's doing the tombstone rubbing in Last Crusade of King Richard's shield. That way they know where the X marks the spot bit is. All that stuff. I felt like all of that joy was missing here. That because they went the broken hero route, there's no room to have any lighthearted fun with anything, or to be joyful about what you're doing, because I'm 80. It's this chick's movie now, I guess. I don't know, I'm not going to do nothing. Like, he looked like, I don't like that route, because even when he's teaching in the classroom, it's to bored kids. And that's not the Indy that I ever want to see. Like, I don't need old man Logan Indy. Ever. I just don't.
But these are also kids 20 years later. Like, it was a different generation. Like, most of the kids
Sure.
didn't want to be in the classroom. I mean, they were portraying the age that he was in.
Protests outside and the parades in the street. Dude, I get that. I'm not saying that it didn't have the verisimilitude to the era that it was in. I'm saying making it happen in 1969 was a bad play. Outright. You don't necessarily have to arrest him into always dealing with Nazis in like 1947. But 69 was too far into the future, because all you can do with that storyline is the disgruntled, grizzled guy that's ready to hang it up and eat a bullet. His wife divorced him. My son died in Vietnam. My goddaughter, who we've never heard of in 60 years of these movies, shows up, screws me over, doesn't screw me over, screws me over, screws me over. Like, I'm not even going to get into to the Phoebe Waller-Bridge stuff for right now. But yeah, dude, the time period, I think we didn't need the fish out of water time-wise story for Indiana Jones, because it sucked all the fun out of it. It sucked all the reverence for the archaeology, for the magic of doing the field work that he always has in the early part of the movie, where he's bringing people into the fold and showing them, oh, dude, the Ark of the Covenant, oh, nobody knows what it does. I don't know, it should fire lightning, who knows? Like, it was just lacking for me completely. And I thought that was to its discredit right away, that it was just immediately Indiana Jones is involved in a Nazi conspiracy that leaves his coworkers dead, which, by the way, they don't answer for by the end of the fucking movie. They return him to his apartment that's a block away from the crime scene that he left his blood at. I mean, it doesn't.
And also, the people that did do the murder died in 487 BC. And it's BC. It's not BCE. It's BC.
I didn't even notice that. Didn't even notice that part. But again, that's going to be your one negative. I think we watched two different movies. But dude, they bring him back to New York, and like I said, like, he's still wanted for fucking murder. Like, there was an APB put out for him at the beginning. Like, it just that the ending part was stupid on itself. But in the interest of not blowing solo reviews and things like that, what did you think of? I'll give you the Phoebe Waller-Bridge talk, and I'll leave that for my solo review. What did you think of her? Not her as an actor, as a person. What did you think of the character?
the character was written for her to be manipulative, which she was, a solo act, even though she was very man crazy, which would go for a lady in the 60s, which is the free love era. Because because she had the fiance who owned the hotel. Plus, every time there was a cute guy walking by, she was giving that look to him, like kind of like a little bit of a young Indy. Even though he was still hung up on Marion, but you had the new girl in Temple of Doom, and then you had the Russian in Crusade, or the German in Crusade.
German.
Yeah, she was German.
And gorgeous.
So I mean, it plays. Plus, she had the young sidekick, so you had a new version of Short Round.
He is no Short Round. Sorry,
but he had a big moment where he got the plane flying. I didn't really like it. Didn't really bother me. It was I knew it was going to be a killer of it, but I do have to say that you were right with the end. Remember we were talking about like how we would write it, and you would say you would hang up the hat and the thing in the closet, and then you would reach and grab it.
That wasn't even a wolf thing though. I mean, like I think that's how literally the other three. Because Crusade they ride off in the sunset. They did maybe they did it in they did it in Crystal Skull, right where like the hat blows back into the church where he and Marion just got married, and Mutt picks it up, and then Indy snatches it out of his hand and puts it on his own head like piss off kid. No, I had a feeling that would be the thing, dude. I'll tell you right now. The reason Teddy is in that movie is to be Short Round in the Phoebe Waller-Bridge Indiana Jones movie that's now never going to happen because this bombed so hard. That was the setup. The setup was supposed to be she takes the mantle. She doesn't take the hat. She didn't. Thankfully, the stupid rumors about they go back in time and he gets erased and she has to, in a montage, he has to take the gold idol. She has to take the gold idol. She has to bring the Sankara stones back to India. She has to find the grail, like all those things. Thankfully, that shit didn't happen. Now, whether or not it was shot and then reshot away, who knows? That might have just been rumor mill stuff. But this was clearly a setup to put her in a leading role, and then he was supposed to be her Short Round. And I'm like, again, this is the shit I hate about modern movies. Write your own fucking film. If you want Phoebe Waller-Bridge to be an adventurer, go make fucking Lara Croft, have this kid be her sidekick, but don't make Indy a passenger in his movie. The fact that she was the one that had him, and dude, they had to orchestrate his rescue for the end of the movie. That's terrible. Terrible. And then on top of that bullshit, and this is the part I hope shit gets clipped for the short, right? On top of that, can you imagine for 1 second if the roles were reversed and she wanted to stay back in time for whatever reason, and he slugged her and took her back against her will to present day because it was the right thing to do? There'd be page after page after page of Twitter going nuts about how Indiana Jones stole Phoebe Waller-Bridge's agency as a character in the movie. Dude, get the fuck out of here. If the old man who you thought was mortally fucking wounded, that you were crying over, disingenuously I might add, that you were crying over, if we don't get him back to our time where there's medicine, he will die. Let him fucking die on the beach. Let him go. He wasn't changing the future at that point. But she punched him in the face in the world's worst punch ever. And then the transition is he wakes up back in New York and everything's fucking fine. Awful. Awful ending, guy. Worst ending I've seen in a hot minute. Do with that what you will, please.
I did like the throwback of him and Marion where they were talking about what hurt, and then she's like, well, what doesn't hurt?
That will make it to my review video because that's a tender moment between established characters, and the nostalgia played well for that. 100%. 100%.
Like I said, there was a lot of good throwbacks in this, and like I said, it was an okay movie. It's not in the top 3, it never will be in the top 3, but you were talking about Indiana Jones being a passenger in his own movie. He was a passenger in Raiders.
I've heard that said. I've heard you can take Indiana Jones out of the thing and it doesn't impact the thing, but there's also videos that show that, that's not actually the case. There's a deleted scene that explains if this had happened. I know if it's not in the movie, it didn't happen.
Yep.
But that makes him ineffective. That doesn't make him a passenger in his own movie. He's still there doing shit, trying to attain the goal. He may be failing, but he's trying to attain the goal. In the first movie, it wasn't Marion that found him and said, hey, I've got the thing, let's go do the thing. in Temple, Willie wasn't singing at the Japanese nightclub or in Hong Kong or wherever, and like put him up to finding the Sankara stones. It wasn't her. It wasn't Ilsa's idea to go find the Grail. You know what I mean? Like he was very much led. He made the one good decision here after she bailed on him at the murder scene. They teamed up where at the auction where he was like where he almost got himself killed.
Yeah,
like the 50 people pulling guns on him.
Yeah, and he didn't back down.
Because that's Indy. Listen, it's not like that there weren't quits. This wasn't as bad as The Last Jedi, where Indy didn't act like Indy. I'll give it that. For the most part, he did what he could do. The one scene where they're climbing the rock wall, and she's like, "I'll take this joke because it works." This is what I was saying weeks ago on the show. They can make the one joke about the old guy being old kind of thing, as long as he gets his due by the end. And I thought in this scene, at least, he acknowledged that he's getting, he's like, you've been through, I've been shot 9 times, once by your father.
Yeah.
He's like, I got 2 bad hips and 2 bad shoulders or whatever. Like, that's okay if it happens the once. But when the Nazis show up, she punks in there, slams the door in his face. She kind of gets the better of him in the classroom a little bit, not that bad. She's constantly dumping on him during the pursuit of the other half of the dial. And then what was the other device they were trying to find?
It was,
I can't remember what it was called. The Graphicos.
Oh, the Graphicos. Yeah, where it told him where the other half was.
Right.
Because they had to find the tomb of Archimedes because he was buried with the other half of the dial.
And to the movie's credit and to your credit, there was a little bit of balance there where he activated the water displacement puzzle. Like she didn't sort that. Like he figured that. So I mean, I was cool with that.
He's obsessed with water displacement.
Right. Okay. We're dumping shit on top of me. I guess the biggest pisser for me was the scene on the boat. When and this is how I know I didn't like the movie at all, because I can't remember literally any character's name. The bad guys show up.
Yeah.
Mads Mikkelsen's crew shows up, right? And she's the one that pulls off the dynamite play. You know what I mean? Like, how is that not Indy's move? Where he's the one, he should have had the dynamite in his pocket
because he didn't see it. She's the one who found it in the drawer.
Because they wrote it that way, dude. It should have been Indy finding it in the drawer and knowing he had to maneuver over there and get it and hide it and then have her do it. And have her.
Why would he be looking around the ship? She's the thief. She would be going through drawers. He was too busy trying to get set up to dive because he wanted to dive down there and get the thing.
They were both going on the dive. Dude, I think there's on the spot, I can't figure out that angle, and that's a great point. And I'll give you that point that she's I don't know, she's a thief so much as she is a con artist, and there is a distinction there.
Well, she was selling stolen.
She was that doesn't make her a crack shot, a fucking fighter pilot, or an astronaut. She was just be like, if I came by your house, it was like checking your medicine cabinet. Like, no, again, people are weird. Anybody could do that, but again. Then don't have it in a drawer. You just have it in a crate that's over in a corner. And Indy in that scene, Indy sees it, and then you slowly get him over there. And then he goes through the buffoonery of trying to get her to notice what's going on and then light it.
But
you know what I mean? It was just weird.
But it was her who was the opportunist. She's the one who would sell out Indy for the money to set that up, where Indy wouldn't sell them out.
That's strong. All right, that's strong, because that was actually the angle she was running up to the point where she prominently displayed it. I guess in the back pocket. Okay, you know what? This is why we have these chats. Because after you run me through some motivational kind of things, I'm like, all right, maybe that wasn't that part as bad. But I think for me, we're gonna get out of here in a minute, so we don't go too far over. Even if I concede that point, and I like the part where he fixed the tuck with the bubble gum, and she said it wouldn't work, but he knew what it was made out of. I thought that was good,
and it would get us to. It would at least get us to.
It'll get us there, right? You'll never be able to convince me otherwise that the ending was strong. Outside of the Marion part was good. But Marion being there isn't good either.
The whole part of the past, when they actually go to the past, was bad. Because it made no sense.
Dude,
even though they set it up 7 times during the movie, because you had the
marionette
play, and they had the dragon come through and hitting the Roman soldiers, which turned out to be the plane, and then this bird has propellers.
When they found the tomb of Archimedes,
and then he had the watch.
You can have all the setup and payoff in the world. If it's fucking stupid, it's stupid. I mean, it's just how it is.
But yeah, just like, where did the wreckage of the plane go?
Yeah, dude, the wreckage of the plane, survivors of the bodies, witness accounts of
firearms.
fire guns. And dude, that's another. There's just too much stupid shit that happened in that entire segment.
And anytime you have time travel, it's a very slippery slope because
dude, if you're not Back to the Future, don't bother. If you're not Back to the Future or Terminator,
but even
don't
Back
do
to the Future,
1.
Back to the Future did it perfect in Back to the Future. Was it 2, where he messes up the future by doing
right? Because he goes back and screws up the thing, and then it makes the new thing, and it's not the stupid Flash explanation, which is fucking stupid. No, but when they do this is the thing, they do the back in time bit, and like the German dudes come into the Battle of Syracuse, and
so you start shooting people.
They not only do they open fire, but they're flying at 15 feet above the battle.
Well, they were going down because the plane was crashing at the time.
Was it disabled at that point?
Because it got struck by.
Because they went on a strafing run at some point that was pretty even.
And it was gliding at that point because the engines kept blowing out.
Dude, you're taking like naval Triumph. What's the name of the boat? The Trimarine, I believe, is the Trimarine, something like that. I don't know all my ancient ships, but like they're taking like giant ballista fire and shit. One guy gets whacked out the door by a giant bolt, Game of Thrones style, that like killed Drogon. Yeah. And I'm like, pull the fuck up. Why are we engaging in a gun run in this situation? Because I don't think the plane had crapped out initially. Like I think they just happened to be coming in. And then I think they took shots, and that's what disabled the engine.
When they first came in,
the instruments were off.
It was the turbulence, and you saw the fire come out of the engine.
Okay, all right. So maybe, but even still.
But still, it was a bad time travel.
We got Nazis. We got Nazis hanging out the door, firing sidearms at like 2,000 feet away, at running targets on the beach and shit. And I'm like, okay. And then the one Roman dude sees the plane go down, and he's the only one that goes over to the plane crash. But it's like 6 miles away, but he gets there in less than 8 seconds. And then he has to take an arrow from Archimedes' guy. And then, dude, Archimedes' whole plan was create a device that would bring somebody back to help. Dude, what if I came back inside it with the fucking Romans?
No, see, he wasn't done building it at the time. That's why it was actually.
That's why they wanted to take his back.
Yeah,
but that was his plan. He wasn't not intending to build something to get help for Syracuse?
Yes,
he just wasn't done.
But he didn't know what it did. He was building something.
Right.
Yeah,
so it's the causal loop of they brought one back,
and then he realized what he could actually, he wrote down where he found like the fissures in time in his journal after he built it, like things that it was calculating, and that's when he realized it was too powerful and took it apart.
Dude, I hate causality loops are the worst, dude. They stand up to no scrutiny almost ever, except Back to the Future. I think it's literally the only thing that it's ever gotten right to me where I'm like, I can concretely understand the fuck you're talking about. The Terminator was also kind of simple. We send back a robot to kill your mom before you're born, and then boom, bada bang.
Yeah.
Future changes from that point going forward, which is, I guess that's almost as Back to the Future. If I do some shit in the past, it changes everything going forward. So
there was a great what was that Twilight Zone episode? Like he went back into the past and like he didn't touch anything, like they warned him about it, but then he was being chased and he steps on something and he hops in the time machine, goes back, and he goes back and like the whole world is changing, like because he stepped
on a bug.
He stepped on a worm. And it didn't allow a bird to come down where people came and hunted it, which started a civilization there.
Yeah. So again, kudos to the Twilight Zone for understanding it like 80 years ago. It didn't work for me here. I know we're not big on scores most of the time. Give me the 10 with a decimal point if necessary here for you. Now you called it okay. So are you falling on the bell curve here? Is there a 6 in the future, or is it better than a 6?
Not better than a 6. My wife's rating of it was cute.
Okay, in women terms, that means it's a Wonderwolf 3. That's what Mrs. King Z thinks. Then
I'm pretty sure it was cute. So I'm gonna stick with that. It was cute.
It was cute. All right, so that puts the onus on me to actually sack up and give a number, and that's okay. All right. Pacing was rough. I didn't like the indie voice. I didn't like the ending. I really thought the bit where, and I'll talk about more of this in my review, but I did not like the bit where Phoebe Waller-Bridge pulls out the tears at the end crying for Indy, because that was not the relationship that I got from them via the 2 week flashbacks. If that was a character like short round that he had been estranged from, but then they got back together years later and resolved some differences. If he says Dr. Jones and he punches them and brings them back, maybe that ending sounds good. I did not like that entire bit. It felt disingenuous from somebody that had tried to screw him over during the movie twice. I didn't like that. But it did have a gazillion-dollar budget. I thought the CG was pretty good.
It was decent, except for the naval scene.
Yeah, that was weird, but that struck me more like panoramic video game shit anyway. I lower the bar for those kind of things. The up-close stuff, like the horse on the subway, the car chases.
As we said earlier, it's hard for CGI boat scenes, because we were talking about the 300.
300.
Yeah, or the sequel to 300.
This is the Rise of an Empire, right?
Yeah.
That's tough, but I mean, the up-close stuff, I guess, was okay. The stuff on the bridge with the train where CG was applied there, I thought looked pretty. That's another thing. Dude, how did the fucking villain survive taking the train boom crane to the face in the setup? That should have decapitated it. That should have been a fucking clothesline to hell, courtesy of Kane or the Undertaker. Like, it should have been his son or something. I don't know. That was like, is he Doctor Doom? Like, he'd make a great Doctor Doom though.
He would. His voice.
Matt Nicholson, Doom.
Yeah.
Do it with little added accent of a different. They work up an accent.
Isn't Doom Austrian?
Latvian.
Latvian.
It's a made up country. Is it Latvian? Yeah, I think it's Latvian. It's a made up country that's supposed to be Germanic or Austrian inspired for sure. Yeah, that'd be it. We gotta get to call our guys at Marvel and get that done. We want Matt Nicholson.
Pretty soon they might be taking applications for new president.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, we talk about that next week in our topics. I think we have run our course today, unless you want to throw something else. And I think we've covered our bases. Yeah, we did the Sound of Freedom. We talked Squid Games. We talked Witcher. We broke down our likes and dislikes on indie.
Once again, the phone number is right.
Yes.
Here.
Bring it up. Can you boost it? Make it big.
Just a second. That's going to take me a second. Hold on. I got to get to the scene.
Middle of the screen. Center. There it is.
There you go.
And remind everybody again what that is, because it's just the number.
This is the phone number.
Yep.
Oh, okay, there we go. Phone number for the DHS anti-human trafficking hotline. If you see something, say something, because this is something we can all help combat. Contact your elected officials. Make this a priority. We had a president who did make it a priority, and then we had another president who, in his second day of office, defunded it.
Ouch. Yeah. Hey, bring up the you get the website on standby too. Can we get that back up on there before we go?
1 second.
Again, this is the Pay It Forward program through the production company that did Sound of Freedom. You guys get up on the site, then we do have a little typo in there. It's angel.com, ANGEL, but the rest of it's spelled the right way. Kingsley, explain what the program is again.
It's a Pay It Forward, so you can buy tickets for people to go see this movie, because they don't want finances to stand in the way of people actually seeing this movie because of the subject matter and get in people's face. As I said before, Uncle Tom's Cabin changed the mind of before he was president that started the 13th Amendment that ended slavery. This is that type of piece of art that could change legislation and put more emphasis on a true issue in the world today.
This is a crime against humanity. This isn't just an issue. This is a crime against humanity.
49.6 million people are still slaves in this world. And we outlawed slavery in 1865, and over 70% of the set slaves that are out there come to the United States and are set slaves here.
Yeah. People need to get the eyes open. So we'll leave that up there. And like I said, Kingsley, when you do up the, if you want to touch up the show meta to get the number in the description, that's cool. I'll leave the link in the description as well, so people can check that out. That's Sound of Freedom in box offices everywhere, taking Indiana Jones's lunch money as it should. And until next time, I think the guy over there is still Kingsley, even though he had all kinds of emotions tonight. I will still be Winter Wolf over here. Keep your kids close. Keep your situational awareness up. And don't hesitate to act if you think something's going wrong. Trust your gut. If your gut's telling you something wrong, it probably is. You don't have to be. You're not Batman. You don't have to be Batman. Maybe you just scream and make a lot of noise and call Batman. He's out there. We're waiting. We'll see you guys next time.